This is a culmination of almost a year project. It's a dining room full of wallpaper and a windowscape. It's a commission for Cade Tompkins. She's a gallerist here in Providence, Rhode Island, and she lives above the gallery with her family, and so the dining room is a permanent installation for Cade and her family. It's Moroccan-inspired wallpaper. This is really an allusion to wallpaper. We refer to it as wallpaper. It's pattern. So the wallpaper is made up of small components that are glued to the wall. So the last couple of days, a crew and I have spent all hours installing about 30,000 pieces of glass on her wall. The still life tradition, it's been around since the 1600s, and I've been working in the still life tradition for over 10 years now, and it's basically using inanimate objects to explore some theological, medicinal, economic ideas, the transience of life, mortality, permanence versus impermanence. It's a huge, it just goes on and on. The catalyst for what I've been doing has changed over time. So right now, the things that are of interest to me most is the exploration of identity through inanimate objects. So when I say that, what are these objects telling others about who you are? So I'm creating a narrative with objects in the still life tradition. Recently, I've been considering a lot of the work that I've done as portraits, also through objects. I usually deal with excess in my work. The work tends to be incredibly decadent in its compositions, and this is really very minimal in that way, even though it isn't. When you see the room, it's all-encompassing, but there's a minimalness to the actual pattern that was chosen. So each piece is hand cut out of sheet glass. So I use a pattern, trace the pattern on the sheet glass, and then use traditional stained glass cutting tools to cut, break the glass. And then the components are put into a kiln in my studio, and they're fire polished because they're sharp. And also it gives a nice rounded edge that really plays with the light in a very interesting way. Everything was brought here, and now what we're doing is we're gluing the pieces in a very specific way because the glue becomes part of the pattern. So we put dots of glue at the same location on each component and place it up on the wall and tape it, and it, cures overnight. This piece is a continuation of an idea that I began to explore in 2008 for the RISD Museum, actually, in an exhibition entitled After You're Gone, where I created an interior space that was an allusion to the period room in the Pendleton home. And also the RISD Museum has this tremendous collection of wallpaper. So that's when I started to kind of delve into this idea of reduction, like how far reduced can my ideas go so that they're almost incidental. What is the minimal amount of touching of a space that I could do through the decorative arts, which is seen as really subordinate to fine art in the history of art. Every time we put a mark on the wall, glue something on the wall, it's my hand or other people's hands. So for me, it's really an exploration of that idea. It's that moment in time. What is the outcome of an object on a wall, placing something in a space, which will be around much longer than we will be around. Living in this commercial society where we all crave and want and desire and accumulate, the futility within that faced with mortality is really quite interesting. Are people going to think about that when they come into this space? Most likely not, but those are the things that are driving my practice. I hope that the work will be transcendental to someone who comes in to the dining room for the first time, that it perhaps jars them out of their daily life for a moment and possibly allows them to have a sense of wonder or awe and maybe think about a few of the things that I was trying to allude to within it.